Hey guys, how's it going? Hey Catherine, how's it going? Good to see you. I love your little picture. Where is the highlighter? Whew, still working in the medicine section. Got a lot done. I found a ton of examples today on infusions. So was adding a bunch of those to that section. I'm going to find some practice exam questions to go along with that and do it hopefully by Friday. Infusions is good to learn for the exam for sure. Also, I updated a lot of the immunizations with their proper manufacturer names, because we had a question in tutoring this week where one of them, they didn't even tell us anything other than the proper name, which was Gardasil. And it was like, okay, go find that shot. And the CPT code descriptor did not say a manufacturer's name. So if you did not have it written down which one was Gardasil, you would have no idea of knowing which one it is. What I'm doing right here on this table, I'm on page 811. I'm just getting rid of the times ones because that's just confusing to me. I don't like it. Y'all don't have to do it. I'm just doing it because I don't like it. We don't times one anything in coding. We don't write it out. We don't bill it that way. And we don't pick any exam answers that say that. So anytime I see them on a table, I get rid of them. How's everybody? Hey, Sanchez. Thank you for the roses already. ESP. All that money will end up going to free notes for somebody. Hey, Nene. How's it going? Good to see you guys. I'm posting up the live from, what day is today? Monday. It's going up now. It just took me forever to get it downloaded. And then remember to post it after I once downloaded it. So I remembered as I was getting ready to go live again, oh yeah, I didn't post that. So it's going up now for replay. It was a really good live. What it would be on the next certificate to get after CPC? Katie, good question. I think risk CRC is a really good one to get with your CPC because a lot of doctors' offices are wanting the CRC. And the other good thing about the CRC, it's only one book you have to worry about, which is your ICD-10 book. And I actually have some practice questions for CRC tonight. Just a couple of them that I thought I'd put in with you guys today to show y'all a couple of examples. So Katie and I are on the same brain wavelength today for some reason. So that's pretty cool. I'll show you what some of those questions look like from CPC or from AAPC, I guess I should say. Getting my initials all wrong. So what I'm doing here is prepping my medicine book for a certification exam. We have some out-of-code sequences. Luckily, this 8-4 is just right above. So I underline it in red because all the codes look like all black. But what I'm looking for is a red code, and they don't coordinate. I would rather them be red instead of the hashtag. So I'm just going to write this page number down, 811. I'm going to write down that it's in column 2, and I'm also going to draw an arrow, since it's on the same page, up so that if my eye is looking for this number and I end up here, I'll know it's over here versus over here or wherever. I just point an arrow. So our 8-3 is on the same page too, but it's in column 1 and it's directly across the hall from it over here. So I'm going to do an arrow that way. And then I'm going to underline it in red so my eyesight is drawn to it when I get to that page. So I'm marking my do nots in red so that they're highlighted during the exam. I'm noting and fixing all of my out of code sequencing. And if it says to use a code with another code, I blue star those and underline it. And then I highlight in yellow. You can use any color scheme you want. Anything that's in parentheses that I see on the page, anything at all, because it's helpful information. I find this information in the questions from the exam. They're AKA terms. They're extra instructions that you need to know. They're list of examples of what could be this thing that they're talking about in that code. The other thing I do is if it says something is without something, after the without, I just put a line through it because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see reprogramming here when it's not even included in this CPT code. I don't want to know anything about it. But when it says with, I just leave it alone. So that's why that one line's through that particular word. But thank you guys for the shares and the hearts. I think it all makes a difference. I've already taken my exam, Carrie. I am making these notes up for you guys to show you how I passed. I passed many, many years ago, and I teach y'all from the exam point of view how to pass. Instead of from a whole coding course, how to potentially pass, but it's not really focused. Like, you've got a whole lifetime to learn medical coding, which will be totally different when you get a job and you start coding in the real world anyway, because each doctor's office or hospital or laboratory has their own contracts on how they would bill. Some of this stuff is capitated. We wouldn't bill at all. There's tons of rules once you get out in the real world coding, and you need to learn that on the job. What you need to learn for this certification exam is how to answer the questions correctly, the most efficient way possible, because it is timed, and that time is not your friend. So I teach you how to not read the questions, to go straight to the possible answers. Weed those out based off what is in your coding book, because it'll tell you don't use this code with that code. And if that is a possible answer, you can go on and eliminate that possible answer right away. And you don't have to read the question to do that. And I show you what I see as a medical auditor, is my profession anyway. What do I see as trending factors based off of each section or question type? What happens? What's going on there to make such what you should look for? Like an integumentary, we would never use the modifier 52. And if you see that as a possible answer, you know you can eliminate that as a possible answer. Lots of other little tips and tricks that I teach y'all so that you can just answer the questions without reading the questions, because they are usually full of propaganda and stuff that is meant to confuse you. And I teach you about the guidelines, what's important for the exam, what you need to know, how you can prep your book before your exam to make the exam a whole lot easier for you. I don't recommend tabbing. I don't recommend bubbling. I don't recommend a lot of things highlighting what's after the semicolon. I don't recommend a lot of that. That's just a lot of time. What I do recommend is finding codes that start out the same words. If you look, I'm on page 810, 95970, and 95980. They both start out with electronic analysis. Electronic analysis. They both say they're an implant, and they're both neurotransmitter pulses. They have the same CPT code descriptor. Same. Well, during the middle of the exam, do you have enough time to read all of this and analyze it and figure out what the difference is between this code and that code? You don't, because you have 2 minutes per exam question to actually get to the codes. That's part of the problem. Then you have to analyze them if you haven't done the prep work and figure out what your difference is, because the difference is what you need to take with you if needed and only skim the question for that one difference. We keep going and keep going and keep going until we find a difference in this descriptor. This one's by physician. This is a generator, neurostimulator pulse generator, where this is a transmitter. This is a system. We got those two word differences. Is a system. And then over here, I've got transmitter. We also have what's in the parentheses are both being said as two different things too. They start out with contact groups and interleaving, where this one is doing rates, pulse, and amplitude and duration. So they are sending or collecting different information. We do have by physician and MD professional right here. And this one doesn't say anything about a professional or MDM. So just a few things to work out between these codes and see what our differences are to make a difference. Hey, Kim, how are you doing? Yeah, a few years ago, it was even bigger. It was 150 exam questions back then and almost 6 hours long test. Now it's 100 questions and 4 hours long. But risk adjustment is really good for nurses to get into too. Yeah, it took forever to tab your books. Yeah, when you took your course. Yeah, when you're better off spending the time doing something else, because that alone takes so much time when you could be going in here and writing your code differences down, which is the most important thing you do, especially in the codes that start off with the same exact wording. We got any more knots? We usually write here is not reported separately, so we need to make sure we know that. It is not considered an electronic analysis or programming. So they're trying to help us out and tell us what our differences are and some of this stuff. We also have to check our guidelines here and see if there's some things that we can't code with another one that they failed to put in our do nots, and we add that over there to the codes. All right, somebody else has got a question. Terry. Hey, Terry. Are we allowed to cross out words like reprogramming in the book? That's a good question. This one says without programming in it. If you're doing it in the medical format of one line through, normally we would put our initials by it if we're in a patient's medical chart or doing anything medical. That's why when I draw a line through it, I'm doing it in the medical format where it's just one line through. You can still see what is written there, which is proper medical documentation. I don't see a problem with it. Now, what AAPC is not wanting you to do for the exam is to take pages that, look, all those tabs are still there. They're still there. Things like this, that's the front of the book, that is it's junk page, right? You really don't need this big CPT 2000. That's a lot of white space you could use. You could white out that, and then you'd have a big old chunk right here for writing in notes. They don't want you doing that. So this black print that is theirs, they really want you to write in the spaces around it, and or in pages like this that have a lot of space in it, or even all the way around all the codes like I do. This is all fine. I'm writing in the white spaces. Just, I think personally that why have programming here when you are running really fast and you are really skimming super fast, because you know you have 2 minutes. You have this code and that code. You know this one is without programming. You know this one is with programming. Oh, that's your one word difference. And if you leave it there, it will you might just see programming and not pay attention to without. But I think it's very helpful to make sure that you don't see that when you're skimming. So you can also, instead of putting the one line through, you could mark it underneath here, says a 0 with a line through it, and you could put programming. Is it with, ooh, I didn't leave enough space. Without programming, maybe I'll just do program, G-R-A-M, because I don't have enough for ing. But, and then over here on the other one, we can write our positive programming. Then you don't have to draw the lines through them, but then you just grab it while it's right underneath each CPT code. Grab it and grab. My difference is no programming or programming. And then you just search your question from the bottom up for the word programming. Was it done, or it's never in there? Then you know they didn't do it. Then you know you're going to pick this one. Hey, go-kart, how's it going? Why do they teach you to tab? It's really interesting. It's just like, like one of those hand-me-down things that never gets updated and just keeps doing. So when you're in the course, the CPC exam course, they're teaching you to index everything, right? You go to this alphabetical index, you look up what a upper gastric bypass is, you find the CPT code area, then you go to it and then read your CPT codes and figure out which one it is. But during the exam is already coded for you. You're not gonna, it's ABC answer and it's already coded. You just need to pick out the right coding scenario that is correct. And they're teaching you how to code during the course as an overall profession, not from the exam point of view. So they teach you to tab, because if you were working in the olden days, 10 years ago when we didn't have electronic medical records, we would code from these books. Nowadays, we don't even have these books in the office. You have an electronic medical record that's populating, and you Google inside the EHR, kind of like, what your diagnosis is or whatever, or it's brought over from the patient's previous history list already for you, and you just unclick it if they're not still having that issue. There is nothing about this book that is in practice right now, and their course is just outdated, really. They need to update it to an electronic chart format, and then also get out of this book and use an electronic format of this book, which would hinder you guys during the exam because you couldn't make your own notes about programming or non-programming. This is kind of handy to have during the exam because you can make your own handwritten notes in here and tell the differences between the codes. We would have to learn a totally different thing if we did have it in the EHR. To look for our differences. It could be easier, but I like having the book. That's cool, but their course is outdated. And that course teaches you to tab because it tells you how to get to sections faster when you're just trying to figure out what a word is to get to the number. But in the exam, all the numbers are given to you. All you have to do is run to each number, grab your one-word differences, and search the question for the differences. Anyway, it's way outdated. Kimberly, way outdated, and it's disconnected from the exam. It's not there. I saw a new Tom Cruise movie. Love the flying movies. Oh, go-kart. Ooh, let me show you. Have I showed you this? Were you on when I did this? Let's see. Where is my wrong facey book? My James and Travis were so different. Who's that? Who's that with Miss Jen? Tom and I go way back. That's his sister taking that picture right there. Gotta be jealous now. But yeah, that's me. Me and Tom Cruise. And that picture was on the Chinese ramen theaters in Hollywood, in California, their Facebook page for like a week. But some guy for the Chinese theater took that picture, and his sister has my cell phone, and she's taken a picture of him and I together right there one day. He's really, really engaging. He will walk a line of like city blocks of fans during a movie premiere, and he won't go talk to the reporters and stuff, but he'll walk the entire city blocks and just talk to every single fan and listen to their story, whatever they have to say to him, and then let his sister take a picture of him and the fans together. And he will spend hours out there just visiting with all of them. And when you're visiting with him, he will make you feel like you are the only one that matters in the world right there at that particular second. So he's got a way about him, which is very interesting, and he smells wonderful. Anyway, he is one of the nicest I've ever met. And I've been to a few movie premieres. I even got to go to I got to meet Stephanie Myers and have dinner with her one time. If y'all know anything about those movies and books, I've sat next to her for several hours eating dinner with her, talking to her about adoption. What else? Yeah, done a lot. Anyway, that's another life ago. Well, I didn't realize they had changed it, and it took the 6-hour one, and it was the fastest 6 hours ever, wasn't it though? And then you have to go home and like recover from that. That 6-hour exam was like, oh, I need a bed and a glass of wine, and don't talk to me, whoever you are. My brain was full. I do not recommend the books at all. You are actually at a huge disadvantage if you do not get the AAPC versions. All your guideline questions, there's 5 of them, will be in the back of the AAPC version of the HitPix book, which Bucks and some of the other ones do not have. What I'm talking about is there's a lot of questions, and a lot of their coding tips that they physically put in, or their decision tree charts that they put in. AAPC manually puts them into the CPT book that AMA created. They have questions on the exam about them. And if you don't have the AAPC version books, then you're in at a disadvantage because you can't answer the dang question. This HitPix book has version Appendix I in the back. This 100 publications of reference back here, with no freaking, I wish it had like telling me what's on page 1, what's on page 2, what's on page 3, but this is just a hodgepodge of 100 reference materials about medical coding guidelines. If you don't have this, you are at a disadvantage and can't answer those questions for the medical guidelines. And some of those, the AMA versions and stuff, don't have this. And your ICD-10 with the decision tree and some other guidelines for the ICD-10 is definitely going to make you at a disadvantage. And then all their coding tips in the CPT book, there's especially like their questions will come directly from their coding tips, which it took me a while tutoring you guys to figure this out, that y'all can't find the answer when I have it in, and we have the same year books, but then you have a different version of the book. Well, oh, that's why. So it took me a while to figure that out. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over the words, but I'm excited to have figured out some new information that can be so helpful. And they should freaking tell you that if you don't buy our books, you could be at a disadvantage. Like these little coding tips that might not be in the AMA version, AAPC puts them in themselves. These are direct questions from the exam. So, man, I used to not care, but I'd rather you get used, even prior year for HitPix or ICD-10. You could get like 2001 versions right now really cheap from Amazon or the library, or Goodwill might even have some. Nursing students or people at local community colleges get rid of them and just donate them. You can find them there. Also, because there's not very many questions in either one, but they are important if you get the AAPC versions. Prior years are okay. I prefer current year for the CPT, but I did make a document that can help you turn your 2021 CPT book into a 2022 document or book by writing in the new codes and I tell you what page to write them on so that you have them and what to write. So that's cool if you ever wanted that document. But don't get the Bucks version. Good gracious. I took my final exam from AAPC and got an 89, Jen. Patricia, that is really good. I didn't see too many pre-opt. What does that mean? How do I answer the long pre-ops? I love the longer pre-op ones because usually at the top it'll say the pre-procedure diagnosis, and then the procedure is listed. It's all up top. I usually don't need anything on the bottom with all the patient was taken to the surgery wing, they were put in the prone position. None of that really matters. That stupid course that y'all take tells you, oh, you got to know all these routes and positions. But for the CPC exam, you don't need it at all. But I don't mind the long pre-op reports because I just read the top and then read the bottom. Look for just whether they used image guidance or not. Other than that, don't really need the middle or the long op note part. If they used an autograft or an allograft or an exograft, some of those things you might just grab from the middle, but it's very rare you need it. Just go straight to the answers first. Don't read the op note at all, 100%. Go look for coding irregularities in your answers. Look for things that can't be coded together. Eliminate those answers. Hopefully you can get down to a 50-50 shot. Then just see what the difference is between the two codes. Usually in the op notes, it's a difference between a metal plate, a donor bone, or your own bone. So remember, auto starts with A-U-T-O, so it's your own bone. I think of driving my own car, automobile. I'm driving my own car. And so it's my bone they got from my hip bone, and that means it's my bone. So it's an autograft. And then the other thing that they'll do is if it's a steel plate or an implant, then you know it's allograft. It has 2 L's in it. And I think of that as it's, being somebody else put something else in my body. It walked over to my body, 2 legs walking. So that's usually the differences in those long surgery consults. And then with and without ultrasound or fluoroscope or stereographic, whatever kind of radiology they might have used. So the big ones I don't mind at all. Do you recommend going through the study guide for the CPC exam? Yeah, the study guide is full of their helpful information. It's a lot of information, and every freaking word is important. So it's a lot if you can. The main important thing, if you do have a course, grab every quiz question, every chapter review question, go to your grade book, where your grade book is, click on your grade over on the right-hand side of each exam and quiz you took. That'll bring up this one sheet kind of like thing of all the questions with your answer that you did. Highlight all of it, like right click on highlight all of it, and then hit Control P for print it to PDF, and save every single question everywhere, all over that course. That is a gold mine. Then you take every single one of those questions from every single chapter, and you go right here in the book and put the final answer that you had next to the CPT code that it's related to. So we had to bill for 1 month of home infusion on this elderly patient who was getting grocery deliveries and nursing home infusion. She used about, she did 3 hours, 3 times a week for a month we had to bill. So billing those hours, this CPT code did not say the word each, so we didn't know we could times it. But the answer to the question had us timesing this one and timesing that one. So that question led us to know that we needed to put each here too. I need to add a few more notes, like 30, what is 3 times a week times 4 weeks is 12. So 12 times, and then how many hours? They did 3 hours. Whatever that equals, I need to put down here as the total number of hours equals this, so that we know how to bill it. But anyway, I've got to finish my notes on that one. That is super helpful, so that when you come and you start doing the CPC exam during your questions, if you run into another home infusion, you'll have an example of how they billed a full month. And hopefully it's the same answer. Or you can gather enough information to be able to figure out what the answer is for your new updated question. That's super helpful. If you did that for every single question from your exam, put all those examples in here, you would have a wealth of information, an entire course full of examples. Like we had a path exam for an ischemia of the left leg. It was 1.5 centimeters. Then we had another specimen that was 8.5 centimeters that was an ulcer. How do we code that? And there's your answer. And which one was first, which one was second. I keep them in the correct sequencing order and leave it right there next to the codes. That way, the next time I see it, I've got it answered right there, or can use it as reference for the next time. So any of you guys that are in a course, just gather every single one of those questions. That's the meat of your course. That's what you should be concentrating on, moving that information there. All the anatomy, you can go to each one of your anatomy pictures. Let's see, where's eyes and ears or something? Yeah, beginning of this digestive system. So if they have any just random anatomy terms, you can go add it to the very beginning of these chapters where you have the big anatomy picture, and you can write that info. You know, they had a question in the course that said, what are the parts of the small intestine? Is it A, B, C, or D? And they had 3 items listed in each, and you had to pick out the right answer. Well, when you figure out what the right answer is, go write that whole scenario right here so you have it. Okay, what's the items that are listed in my large intestines then? That kind of info is invaluable. Then you can turn right to it and have your whole course. You're welcome, Terry. Right now I'm on page 850. Oh, thank you, Mike. She said, the mic and I'm trying to think of how I would say, I think that's somebody's show. Mike and somebody's show. Kimberly, wow. Julian, wow. Am I blowing y'all's mind today? Go-kart. Please let us see. Which one, go-kart? What do I need to let you see? All right. I'm truly jealous. What are you jealous? Oh, good. Of Tom Cruise. Yeah. And Stephanie Meyer's dinner. That was really cool. That was really nice. Her and I just talked and talked and talked. And we looked up. Her assistant was like, it's time for dessert, and then we looked up and we realized, oh, there's other people at the table. We forgot to talk to other people because they had brought in this Vietnam vet there too with him and his little dog. He had a dog that helps him. Maybe he was an Iraq vet, but we were supposed to be talking to him too, and we forgot to include him in our conversation. Oh, we felt so bad. But he got a swag bag after that. And his dog was cute. Prefixes and suffixes. You can find that at XXI. Right up here in the beginning of your book, we have a lot of prefixes and suffixes up here. The ones that they like to use on the exam is ISP. IPSI means same. And then lateral means side. They love to use those two during the exam. And then the OMA, or EMA, EMIA means blood. They like to use that one. And then hyper means excessive or above. And I think they use one that is large, one word that is large. And I haven't done that one, marked it up yet. But what I also do, in addition to knowing where that page is at, which is in the very front of your book, I've got it at XX in my version of the book. I also go to each anatomy picture, and if I have prefixes, suffixes, main terms that I want to know for each section, I write those there with the anatomy pictures. This is neuro. These are all and I just Google, I Google exactly what they have here. Nervous system prefixes, and I write my list. Nervous system suffixes, write my list. There's the list right there. And then nervous system main word, and I write it right there. That's all I'm doing, but it's super helpful just in case I need a little bit more than what they have here, or I need it just related just to the nervous system. But don't forget about the other page here. This XXIV It's super handy because it does the planes for you, knowing whether you're cardinal, horizon, superior, versus all those words are very helpful. So is knowing which side is prone, which one is supine. Anterior aspect means chest or trunk, and then the posterior aspect means back and trunk. Just defining or layman's terms, some of this information is helpful during the exam. And you can get copies of the notes if you need them, or watch my lives over and over. I show everything that I do. Mine are too, girl. I can't even, some of my pages, look at this. It ain't even attached anymore, and I can't get it rethreaded back in there again. You ain't telling me nothing. Gosh, these pages are so thin. It's awful. I hate these books. And they tell you to buy the Bucks books in the classes. I heard that info. Why are they doing that? Somebody in my study group on Discord, we were talking about it. She found out about it because she was watching my lives as I was finding out about it, that you really are at a disadvantage if you don't have the AAPC versions of the books. That's shameful. They should tell you that they're always harping about how you need the new year versions, which it only really matters in the CPT book. Honestly, it really only matters here. The ICD-10 and the HitPix can be older versions. Seriously. But this version does sort of need to be updated. But this year wasn't bad. During COVID, they didn't update a lot of codes. So you can turn your 21 into 22 pretty easily. But they should at least tell you that you need those AAPC versions. Hey, PJ, how's it going? I haven't gone over what's been on the exam in the last 60 days. I have an update that I have not added to it that I can go over if y'all are in the mood to. I'm looking. Oh, I'm under images. That's why it's not. I'm like, why can't I find my stuff? Let's see. So, who was that? Who was that today? There it is. Okay. So, page 277. I haven't researched this info yet, so I'm trying to read it while I'm doing it. We had 277 and 278. Let me shut my door because my kids are getting really loud. Is that your monster? I'll text him. Is it Burnham? Is it down on mine? Down. Don't forget to get the birthday. I don't know, James. No, behind McDonald's, Travis. Sorry. Kids are talking about a birthday party they're going to on Sunday. They're having a fit about it. Okay. So one of the new questions on the CPC exam that somebody just told me yesterday is we had an ECMO patient on that was 6 years old. So I haven't researched it or found the question yet. She thinks the answer was going to be 33954 right here. She thinks it was a peripheral insert that was both arterial and venous. And it was an open procedure, and they were insert for 6 years old. So this code might be on the exam. I do pink highlights in my notes if it's a code that was on the exam or we're told it's on the exam. So there's something to research. I got to research that. The same abbreviations as usual were on the exam. The ARDS and VAR. Oh, if I could get my camera to show off what I'm doing here. VAR and ARDS that we had to write in. This back cover of the CPT book has a bunch of common abbreviations or acronyms for medical terms. Some of them are not here, so we write them in like JVD and stuff that were on the exam. Let's see. Tomorrow is your first day of CPC. I'm so glad you found this. You have no idea, user 3377. Yes, I'm so glad you found us. Please make sure that you go to my website, medicalcodingbyjen.com. Look at the social media link. Download this Discord app. Click that social media link. Click the join our Discord, because any practice exam questions that you can't figure out and don't know the answer to, you can come to our Discord study group. It's all free. You can post your question here in our CPC practice exam question room and somebody will answer it like immediately. There's so many people here. Somebody will help you and answer your question for sure. You just copy, highlight it, post it in here. You can get so much help. What to do for your E&Ms. We practice in here so much. We've got all the rooms separated, ICD-10, HIPIC, CPT book prep. I show you how to prep your book for your exam, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, all this kind of stuff. Super helpful. Just a really good study group full of people that will help you out through your course and get you on the right track. For sure, it's all free. I won't be sending you a bunch of garbage or tracking or trying to sell you anything. Just trying to help out. Do you recommend taking a break studying a day before the exam test just to test your brain, just to rest your brain? Oh, my auditor brain cannot comprehend or process that question. Because there's too many variables. It depends on what kind of test exam taker you are, what you and your brain needs. What I do recommend, 100%, whatever your sweet spot is, you know what it is. However many hours it is to get to sleep. You know those days when you went to bed on time, you woke up on time, you had plenty of time to do your hair, makeup, whatever you wanted to do, and you felt so good because you actually got your 7 hours, your 9 hours, your 5 hours, whatever is your honest to God, to yourself, sweet spot that makes you feel great. Those Sunday mornings when you get a little extra time, or if the extra time just makes you too drowsy, whatever it is. You need to get your sweet spot sleep on. And the other thing you need to do is brain fatigue. You know, the Elon Musk and that Facebook person, they wear like practically the same clothes every day. That Facebook guy really practices this. His closet is like Charlie Brown. Same shoes, same shirt, same pants. He wears it every day. Slightly casual business, and that's what he wears. He makes no thoughts or decisions until he gets into a meeting with people where he needs to use his brain. He eats the same breakfast every day, same everything. So get your books, put them in the car the night before. If you're traveling to the exam site, make sure your gas tank is full. Don't pull one of those "I'll get gas in the morning" thing. Go on and go do it. Get your clothes, underwear, socks, everything set out the night before, exactly what you're going to wear so you're not making any decisions. Already know what you're going to eat for breakfast so that when you get up, you've had your sweet spot. You're not making one decision in the morning. You already know what you're wearing. You already know where your socks and shoes are. You already know your books are already in the car with your, highlighters, pencils, whatever you need to take with you, and you're not making any decisions. You'll eat your breakfast and go to your exam site without making any decisions beyond autopilot and tell everybody not to talk to you. You are a ghost that morning. And go to your exam site completely refreshed with water and good karma. Listen to some music and stuff on the way that just makes you feel good that day. And that's what I recommend, at least. Now, I'd be making notes all the way up to the last minute. And it would be a struggle for me to let go of those books and put them in the car the night before. But, Yep. Go-kart. Yeah, I keep forgetting because I ramble on from one subject to another one, and then I forget why y'all are making comments on. I'm thinking about pushing my exam till September instead of August. Aw, Kim, don't push it off too long. Honestly, Tay Taco, you are a gold mine of information. Aw, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm happy to help. Happy to help. If I better you guys' life, whatever y'all are in now, y'all are wanting to do something different. And if I can help you and it does better your life, then it betters your family's life, which betters your community's life, which betters all of us. Every community that gets a little bit better and has more income and has more happy families in it, then great. We're helping everybody out on the planet. It's my thinking on all this. And I feel strongly about how the course versus what's on the exam and what's going on in the real world is uneven and unfair. And for y'all to be spending all that money for the course, and it's the money versus the exam, and how helpful that course is not for the exam, and then how unhelpful all of it is once you get in the door at a doctor's office or somebody to code. I just feel it's unfair and unjust, and they know it too. I believe they have to know it. I see it. I see how many times people fail and can't pass it. It's because the course and everything else is geared towards something totally different than from the exam's point of view. So, yeah. Okay. But couldn't find anything that would give me a list of all of the arteries. Do we need a list of all the arteries? Do we need a list? Because if you're looking from the exam point of view, what we need from the exam point of view, and I look at their practice questions constantly. I've taken the exam constantly. I'm reading and taking their monthly 20 question exam quizzes that they give us every month. After you pass, you have to take those. I see their questions. I see patterns in the way that they ask questions. I hear from everybody I'm helping what was on their exam, how the question was written, What codes did they pick? They remember some of them, like our ECMO. And do we need to know every single artery? Not really. What we need to know is where is our entry points on some of these things. And they have them marked if you need to know them in the CPT book if you have the AAPC version. Knowing that entry point is what you need, and that info is going to be on their animated pictures. That right subclavian vein, something like that, that's what we need. Now, I should be able to find you a list of all those arteries, and I'll bring it one of my next lives. But do we need to worry about all that? We've got our vascular families in the back with the Appendix L, and I went through and wrote whether they were, which order they were on each one. That's kind of helpful, but they still only have really one question about it, and it's a difference between knowing whether we are internal or external carotid. They pick that one tiny little variation is on this third order is of knowing whether we're external or internal. Yeah. But VAR means what? Variation of routes of and plus, let me show you where you can find that information. Come to Lab and Path, go in a few pages, looky what you got right here. You've got a whole list of definitions and acronyms right here on page 601. You go all the way. We should have it here, but it may not be listed. But there are a bunch of acronyms here, but it is a variation. Various routes of administration is what VAR means. Very good, Teresa. Good job. Can you honestly make money doing this? I think I would enjoy it. Sarah, I think that says Sarah. Absolutely. 100% great field to get in because there's so many variations on what you can do, how you can move up in a company or switch companies and start doing something else. It's a great field. Anything in medicine is a wonderful field to get into. Absolutely. 100%. Heck, even Amazon has a job opening right now, remote from home, coding. CPC coder is what they want for their pharmacy side. So absolutely. Medicine, you don't have to worry about finding jobs as far as once you get your foot in the door and get going. But there's always openings. There's always variations of the job that you can get into and do. The medical field is a small community. Everybody knows everybody eventually. But nationally, locally, it's all interconnected, and it's a great field in. I mean, you could work from surgery centers, hospitals, ambulance services, infusions, home health agencies, to freaking Amazon, to CVS, pharmacies, all those places, even online, they need coders. So absolutely, it's a great field. I just don't like the fact that people are spending so much money, like on these courses and stuff. You don't need it. You can self-study and get straight into, and all you got to do is pay for your yearly membership and to pay to take the course. And then I can get you the rest of the way there for free. You don't have to do all those other stuff. Okay. Just like a kid, you're ready for the first day of school. I didn't have a good instructor, just completed coding 3. Oh no, Michelle. Did you have to pay for your coding teacher? I hope not. I like to teach for free. I teach here 3 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 hours each time. And then all the previous ones that I taught, classes, things, whatever this is, live on TikTok. They're all on YouTube. So just go look for Medical Coding by Jen. You'll find me. You can watch all the replays. It's all for free. I'm paying too much for this degree. Oh no, I'm so sorry. But, and get this. Yep, we are great. Y'all are going to get all this done. Yes, I agree. I wish I never took my course and I just went into the book. I just didn't know where to start. Yeah, I have some TikTok videos. Where do I start? That's a great one because it's just, a minute or two long and tells you exactly where to start, even without a course. But I'm only one person. It's hard to spread the word when the industry keeps telling you all this stuff. Take a course, tab your book. I'm like fighting between, this huge wheel that they have going, that just keeps spinning in the same direction. You know what the number one sign or the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again with the same outcome. It's like that. It feels like I'm fighting against this wheel that is just spinning, and they don't even realize, they have to realize that it's only going to help a small percentage of people that are super, like, maybe have a photograph memory where they could read 1,000 pages and remember, retain, and understand all of it at one time. You would have to read. This whole thing is 1,000 pages, but we got 3 books here. So we've got, I don't know, what is that? I don't know, 5,000 pages, and read and understand, comprehend, and memorize all of it. And some people can. Some people can just read a book and know it. And that's wonderful, but that's a small percentage of the planet. And the rest of us have to do to know. And that's where repetitive, repeat questions over and over again, work in these questions. You'll learn where to go in the book to look for the answer, how to find the answer, what you look for, what's the differences between these codes. And that will give you a better outcome by doing than reading and studying and oh my Lord, that's a nightmare. We're not in junior high anymore. We're all too old for that. Okay. Sorry about your instructor. Does the process of elimination work? Yes, it's one of our tools. It's one of our tools. I don't do it in E&M very often. But other than that, it works great in musculoskeletal, integumentary. It works wonderful in lots and lots of areas. It's also just one tool. We look for similarities. We look for coding irregularities. And the main thing is just go to the codes, go to the answers, look at the differences between the CPT codes, grab that difference, one word difference, and then search your question for that difference. Don't read your question from beginning to end and then go to the answers. If you do that, you're going to run out of time. You're not going to have time to finish the entire exam. You'll be bubbling in the last 20 questions. It's too time consuming and an inefficient way of taking this exam. You're welcome. Graduate next summer from my medical billing and coding course. Great. Save every single one of those, Michelle. Questions, practice exam questions from your entire course. Every quiz, every exam booklet, I guess they give you a bunch of worksheets to fill out. Take pictures of them. Save every single one of them you can. If they give you just worksheets to fill out, you can use this app, Cam Scanner. When you go into that Cam Scanner, you can download it, free version. There's a version that'll take a picture of a page. It'll turn it into a document, like a Word document typed for you. It's not 100% fantastic, But it can type this whole paragraph. What I have to do is like fold this page over because it can only do one column at a time. I get rid of this. And then if I just took pictures of this and then put it in that, it would type all this. It might get symbols that it's unknown and might put in a star or something, or mix up a word, but it types a good 90% of it for you, which is kind of handy, especially when you're copying practice exam questions. But irregardless, just having them in a photograph picture is super handy dandy too. Amazon needs coders because they now have a pharmacy program. They send out patient prescriptions. They need to get prior authorizations. They need people that can capture medical records and get the proper diagnosis codes and CPT codes of prior procedures. Medications all have HIPICS codes for their J codes if they wanted to get their chemotherapy covered. There's lots of reasons why Amazon would need coders now, because they now have a pharmacy program. You paid $4,500. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you found me too. Sad, some of the top in healthcare corporations are outsourcing. We did that too. My company that I work for out of California, I've been working from home since 2013 with them, but when I was in the office years ago, we decided to outsource our billing. We had our own billing department and we billed, and we had about half a dozen ladies in there, one of them over it that did all of our medical groups billing. We decided to outsource it. That lasted a year and a half. We rehired the entire department back within 2 years and brought them all back in-house. The same manager came back. We had our tail between our legs. And I think a lot of that is going to happen. And also, guys, there is another opportunity. Once you get into this position and you code for a while, do you know what a Dubai English speaking teacher for medical coding makes over in Dubai? If you wanted to go on vacation and you wanted to work over there, they're paying like 10 grand a month for somebody to come in who's English speaking and teach their department how to code properly. It's insane the money they're throwing out. So, if you ever wanted to travel, there's always opportunities. Always opportunities. And don't worry about them outsourcing us. There is plenty to go around because there is a lot of people in the medical field and a lot of patients. And we need a lot of people to turn every single diagnosis and every single procedure we do to patients into numbers. We have to have people to do that. And that's what y'all are doing. And don't worry about it. This field ain't going nowhere. She didn't give us much homework, so I'm using my step-by-step book to practice. Okay. I could still sit through her lectures. Her after hours, I'm self-teaching. Okay. You paid way more than that, Kimberly. Oh my gosh. I know, and I'm shocked by some of the prices for like just a Sunday workshop are like $300 for like 2 hours or whatever with some of these teachers. I'm like, and you make each student pays that? I could not imagine. Even if it was 4 or an 8-hour day, $300 per student. Anyway, I got some workshops. I got one coming up this Sunday. It's $10 if anybody wants to get in on it. It's going to be cardiology, musculoskeletal, and E&M. But let's get to some practice questions. I think I've rattled on way enough. and get to what I prepped for today. I got some new E&M codes, and I wanted to go through immunizations and do something that I did with somebody while I was tutoring this week to see if it would help you guys out too. So, as you're doing the CPC exam, you will be presented with answers, just A, B, C, or D. I don't care about making a killing. I'm like $300 a workshop per person. What in the world? I don't even like charging for the Sundays because I like doing these for free. And half the people that are there, I just put their email address in there and just add them to it anyway. So if you're having a financial hardship, just let me know and I'll put you in there without paying. Don't feel like you got to give me money for anything. It just takes time away from the kids and the family, and people were encouraging me to do so I did. But that's like, if I do them for 3 hours, so if you pay $5 an hour for my time and I give you 1 hour for free, or it's $2 an hour for my time for the 3 hours, however you want to look at it. I just think you shouldn't have to pay $300 for somebody's time for a day. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to bill people. Okay. So we are in E&M section, right? My workshop this Sunday is from 2 to 5 Arizona time zone. We don't have a time zone like the rest of the United States. We don't fall forward. We don't go back. So right now it is 7:30 here in Arizona at night. I mean, the sun's still up and everything. Sorry about my windows. The hot tub splashes water all over my windows, but the sun is still out. It's only 7:30 here, so that'll tell you what time it will be in your time zone, but it starts at 2 p.m. and ends at 5 p.m. I know it's Father's Day, but 5 p.m. end time for me is a good time. Then we can still go do whatever we're going to do. But 2 to 5, it's 3 hours. It's a Zoom meeting, and you get the link, and then you can watch the replays if you do purchase it. So it's on the Medical Coding by Jen website, and you just go to booking where you book the tutoring, and you'll see the workshop there. And you can get the password and log on to watch the replay. And there's no talking this time. Like today, I visited for however long I've been talking. Twinkle's out today. She had some other things to do, so she can't keep up with my time today. But she'll be back on Friday, hopefully. But I just go question to question to question. As soon as everybody gets logged on, I start right away. So it's usually 50 to 70 questions in 3 hours. I show you exactly what I would do if I was taking the CPC exam with these questions and how I would attack each question, where to find the answer, what to do with your process of elimination, looking for coding irregularities, looking for similarities, those kinds of things. Yeah, sorry, it's Father's Day. Sorry. Okay, so for this question, because I'm in E&M, what I'm going to do is just write. If you're taking your exam in person, you get to write all over your test booklet, which is what I recommend. If you're at home taking your exam at home, you're only allowed to bring a dry erase board and your dry erase board marker. What you need to do is on that dry erase board, go on and write A, B, C, and D, and you won't get rid of that. You'll leave that on there, and then you'll dry erase each one of these. You need to go on and get in the practice of doing this. If you're going to take your exam online, while we're practicing questions, go on and get out a piece of paper and start writing, just like I'm writing here for you guys. Even you guys that are going to be taking it in person, if y'all would get in the habit of going on and getting out a piece of paper and writing out A, B, C, or D, and then when we're going through here and you see me writing out what I'm doing for like code 441 is what? Where are we at? 441. We're telemedicine. So all I'm going to do is for 441, I'm just writing in 42 and 43. I'm trying to read through my camera and it's hard because my mouse is in the way. All I'm doing is writing. They're just all telemedicine. What is my 29? What's 429? Where is that sucker? It's unlisted preventative. Unlisted preventative. Probably not ever going to be an answer. But either way, the more y'all get in a habit of writing down the one-word differences, it's important because you don't want to go back and forth in this CPT book. Go read your question after you've already looked up your CPT codes and then have to go back into the book and look for the differences again because you're going to get confused on which one's A, B, or C. So my biggest minute in my 41 is what I would be writing right here. My 41, my biggest number is 10. My biggest number in 42 is 20. And we're just talking time. My biggest number in 43 is 30, right? Up to 30. So just grabbing that one number difference and writing it down keeps you from looking back at that CPT book again because you're going to bring over your bubble sheet and you can bubble right next to your piece of paper where you wrote what was going on. So all we got to do is check time. This tells you exactly what you need to look for in the question. And that way you don't have to read the entire question. All you're going to do is look for a time. So we're going to go to our question. We see 15 minutes. So 15 minutes is going to be with our second number, right? The 02, right? The 42. Because 15 minutes is going to go between it and after the 10. Yep. Yep. That's all you needed to do was to look through the question just for that one thing. And the other thing that is super helpful, because I didn't read all of this question, what am I taking with me to my second question? All I'm taking with me was 15 minutes. I'm not taking that this is a patient who did telemedicine, the squirrel has diabetes, can't leave the house, telephone, whatever. I don't know. I'm not taking all those words with me to the next question. And if you read 50 of 100 questions from beginning to end, the amount of words you're going to have rattling on in your head is going to make your head spin and your brain is going to run out of energy and you're going to have brain fatigue. And the last 50 questions, you're not going to put all your heart into it like you were before. But if you went through 50 questions and only grabbed one word, 15 minutes, check, there's my answer. 10 minutes, the next one, or with ultrasound or with fluoroscope or without fluoroscope, you took just 2 words per question, your brain's still going to be happy and chipper to move on to the next question instead of you having all this mess rattling around in your head. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Let's check out the next one. So we just erase our A, B, C, and D areas and then go right here. We know this one is a new patient, right? Now our 42 is what? Our 242, so we got to go back in the book. Is this a consult? I don't know all of them by heart, but I think that's a consult. Is that a consult? That is a consult. So we have a consult. Our 43 is a consult 2. And our 52 is inpatient hospital consult. I put I consult. It's probably a difference between the 42 and the 43. And if it is a difference between those two, we're going to have 3 components, which is our history, our exam, and our MDM. We have to match all 3. We can't just match the MDM and run. We do have to meet all 3 if it does happen to be a difference between these two. And most of the time it is, because we see patterns with AAPC where they give us 2 throwaway answers and then they pick 2 answers that are super close. Like that process of elimination is easy to work with this one. And we keep those that are too similar. They're side by side. It's at least where I look first. So let's check out our question. And we see that they are seeing a specialist. And we do have an expanded problem-focused history, exam, and straightforward MDM. We also have a time of 30 minutes. 30 minutes goes with our I'm getting there. With our 42, so our 30 goes with there. Our expanded problem-focused history goes with 42. Our exam goes with 42. Our MDM, being straightforward, also goes with 42. They all match. So we've got 3 of 3 matching, plus our time is matching, so we know our answer is this one. This patient was at a consult visit, so we know we're not going to bill the new patient, 2 by the way. And they were in the endocrine's office, not in the hospital. Yep. And the cool thing is, though, even if, let's say the exam was let's say if the exam was detailed, once you did the history and your history was plain out, just expanded problem-focused history, you can't go any higher than billing that anyway. There's no way. You have to pick the 42 no matter what, because once you picked a code that was low, you have to stay low, unless you're 2 of 3. But this one is 3 of 3, and you find that information in the CPT code descriptor. It says that it requires 3 key components. So, yeah. Hope that's helpful. All right, let's pick another one. We're moving back over to the 3s, the 99341s. Practicing just getting to the codes is sometimes a lot of the trouble. So we've got home visits. We got the 41, the 42, the 43, and then our 49 is what? That's established. So this one's established, and these are all new. All new. First thing, we just need to verify and make sure we're new. Because if we're established, we can just run and grab that code and move on. But look, we got new patient. So, yep, now we can delete that code. Now we got a 75% chance of getting this one. So what do we need to tell our differences between these codes? Are we 2 of 3 or 3 of 3? We are 3 of 3. So we need to get our history from our question. We need to get our exam. And we need to get our MDM. Good job. All right, you guys tell me, which code does history go with? So history 41, 42, or 43? Time can help out too, but it doesn't look like, well, they did. They said 45 minutes. 43 is detailed. Okay, we'll write 43. What is our examination? It's also detailed. Okay, 43. What's our MDM? What do we code our MDM to? Moderate. Moderate's 43 too. Easy peasy. They all three match. That's nice. A lot of times they don't. Our 45 minutes, does that go there too? Yep. That's a 43 too. They all four components match. So very cool. We know we're going to bill our C. That's it. All right, somebody had asked me some about risk adjustment. Here's some practice questions for the risk adjustment certification exam. I thought they wouldn't be bad to know for the CPC exam, so they're not too complicated, but they're also something cool to show you a little bit about what the risk adjustment questions would be like. So, which of the following elements would not be taken into consideration for risk adjustment? Is it their place of service, procedure codes, gender, or how many years they've been on their health plan? Hey, MK, you ain't missing nothing. You know everything. You are ready for that exam. Yep, we don't care how long they've been on their healthcare plan. So A is the answer for this risk adjustment question. Good job. Good job. Yep. Which one of these providers is not approved to be a provider for an HCC model? This is a model in risk adjustment. It takes the diagnosis codes, sorts them by diseases, and gives them a number value based off the risk that patients pose to your group for costing you a lot of money. So, which one is not approved to diagnose patients? It is actually the registered nurse. They don't diagnose. It is D. Which statement is coded as a history condition? Which statement is coded as a history condition? So which one of these can we use if it's a statement in a patient's chart and we can actually code it as a history of? It would have taken me forever to figure this out. Hey, Twinkle, how's it going? I don't even know what time I started, girl. I have no idea. I know I rattled on at least for an hour, I'm sure. I'm assuming I got 30 minutes left. I hope you didn't rush. I hope everything's okay. So a patient presents with history of colon cancer and is currently getting chemotherapy treatment. Now, how can you say a patient has history of something when they're currently being treated for chemo? So we won't use A. A patient has a history of arthritis and is currently, that's that word again. We can't use that word as history, whatever that is. Patient presents with CHF complaining of shortness of breath. Well, they're short of breath right now today. That's for a fact. So that's not history. So just doing that, I know these three are not the answer. I would pick D and move on without even reading it, just so you know, if I was taking the exam. But D is the correct answer. Good job, guys. This is what I do and get paid for it. Is this question. So that's why I picked it. What does CMS STARS rating program monitor? What does it monitor? Is it a performance of Medicare Advantage plans? Is it fraud and abuse? Is it adherence to state scope of practice or performance of Medicare
warm.
providers?
It's so warm over here. This feels nice.
You are frozen to a core. How many popsicles did you eat today?
Just one.
You did not eat one just now.
Yeah, just
How many altogether? Can you count them all in one hand? How many popsicles? No. How many? You didn't eat 3 only.
Fine, I'll tell you how many I ate. 5.
5 popsicles. Travis had 5 popsicles today. Somebody come get this child.
That's not proof.
Did we see Grandma yet today?
Yeah.
She making the chicken and dumplings? It's in the second
she's
fridge.
resting right now, but I'm pretty sure she'll be back because it was so hot outside. She got back from getting from Dollar General. She got groceries for us.
Okay. Sorry, guys. 5 popsicles in one day. Oh, my goodness. It is again, A. Performance of Medicare Advantage plans. I do the commercial side, actually. I have a team that helps me with the Medicare Advantage plans. I'm responsible for the turning in the numbers at the end of the year for the Medicare ones, but I do solely the commercial ones for my group. That whole population is my population. I make sure everybody gets their pap smears, mammograms, they're not given antibiotics when they're not supposed to, that all the children get all their immunizations by the age they're supposed to. The total commercial population is my population. And then I have people that contact and help me with my senior citizens to get their stuff done. All the glaucoma screenings done and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's what I do. Immunizations. On CMS, they have NPI numbers and names of providers. On the bottom, they do. You can look up any provider's NPI number, of course. So we've got an immunization one here, and the first thing we need to do is just go one code at a time. I need to know what my differences are between the 81 and the 91. What's the difference between those two CPT codes? Because I can eliminate two answers based off that, because I have two 81s and two 91s. What's my differences there? Travis. Very important work. New or established patient, that's right. So we've got a returns patient, so we know they're established. So which answer can I get rid of? Which answer does that eliminate? So we can get rid of we're getting rid of which ones? The 81s or 91s? 81s? We're keeping our B's and C's, or getting rid of our B's and C's, or getting rid of our B's and C's? Yeah. I hate those codes. Yeah, the work that I do is important. Well, it's easier on my heart. I did clinical for many, many years, delivering babies, just lots of things in my nursing career and stuff. And a lot of times, with the prior authorizations and the upbringing of the HMO program, a lot of patients, our hands are tied. We can't get referrals done. We can't get them into the specialist. We can't get them. We have to beg these insurance plans to get the medication our patients need. And the frustration, we're the medical people. We know what our patients need, and we can't get what they need. And then they end up passing away or quit our group because they're frustrated over everything and they stop seeing doctors, and it's just very frustrating after so many years. I do miss my patients. I miss them terribly, but administration always had these projects nobody wanted to do, and so I kept volunteering for them, getting called off the floor to help them with this and that. And I gotta close the door because my child is too loud. Hyped up on 5 popsicles. Good gracious. So I ended up in administration. I do miss the floor, but of all the things to do, I didn't want to do referrals. I didn't want to deny anybody anything. I did prior authorizations for a long time. And then I didn't want to do claims because I hate claims. I don't like claims. That just sounds tedious. So this just seemed like a really great place fit for me because of my empathy. I could see that these measures mean something, and I'm getting stuff approved and getting things done for patients. And I got my group to just do open orders, so I don't have to get an order for everything I want. I can just get it done. And no patient has to wait. They can get it done on their time. I love it. I love giving, and that works great for me. Yeah. Yep. On this one, our difference is only in our administration fees. The 60 and the 61 are administration fees, And because the doctor did do counseling, the insurance company needs to know every single component of every single vaccine that was counseled with that patient noted in the chart. So we found a way to be able to bill it and letting them know how many components of those vaccines were actually given with administration fee codes. So our 60 and 61 are just administration fees to pay for syringes and the counseling that we did for our patients. So if you go to this CPT code, this one, and this one, you should have written in, hopefully, how many components are in each one of these vaccines. You can count it here. Our Prevnar, which is our 723, has diphtheria in it, which is one component. It has tetanus in it, which is another component. It has pertussis in it, which is another component. It has hepatitis B, which is another component. Then it has polio in it. So this one shot, this one CPT code has 5 components in it. This Prevnar has one component in it. And what other shot did they get? The rotavirus, pneumonia vaccine. Yep. So this one has one component in it, and this one has one component in it. So that equals 7. We have 7 components. So we have to tell the insurance company that we gave them counseling on 7 components. So which one of these answers, A or D, will equal to the number 7? Code high if there's counseling. Yes, carry me on your shoulders. That's right. So how we do this is how many CPT codes were involved in the administration of these vaccines. We did 3 CPT codes. So that's how we get the 3 with the first number. So if you minus 3 CPT codes, you get 4. That's how many components we need left on the last one. So these 2 numbers equal 7. So D is your answer. I've got some more examples of these. If that was really confusing, we'll go over. So this one's not even having you code the vaccines at all. You just need to know how many components. How many components are in MMR? You should be around page 723 of your book. And let's see, where is MMR? MMR is on page 726, yes. How many components does it have? It does have 3. It has mumps, measles, and rubella inside of it. And the patient did get counseling, so we're going to code every component. Pentel. All they're telling you is a manufacturer's brand name for this vaccine. Unfortunately, the CPT code descriptions do not tell you which one is Pentel, or however you say it. But you need to know it ahead of time. So please go to these codes on 725 and Google each one, and it'll tell you what the manufacturer's given name is And then you can also look in my Discord group under CPT Book Prep. I posted a page with all the CPT codes listed with how many components it has. So then you can just transfer it to your CPT book. Or, of course, when I finish this medicine section, you will be given notes that you can print out that have both the manufacturer name and the CPT code components that are listed. But Pentel has 5 components in it, in case you wanted to know. It has diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, polio, and Hib in it. An influenza vaccine has 1 component in it. So we got 1 more. So altogether, we have 9 components. How many CPT codes would we have? We would have 1, 2, 3. So if we take 9 and we minus 3, because that will be our 60 code, will be the 3, we will have 6 remainder as our second administration code fee. So which answer is correct here on A, B, C, or D? It is not C, because if you add those 2 numbers together, you would get 12. 3 plus 9 equals 12. We're looking for something when we add it together will equal the total of 9 components. So it won't be D and it won't be A. So if we add 3 plus 6, we get 9. I got more, don't worry. All right. Oh, Lord. Did I do this one already? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Nope, I didn't do this one already. All right. So we're just going to go from the first. So we don't have to worry about the 13. It's in every one of them. What we do have to worry about is this 58 and 60. What's the differences between those 2 codes? Our 90658 is a split virus where our 60 is a live virus. And we can look right up there. What do we see? We've got a live virus for our influenza. So we're going to keep the 60. So we're going to get rid of A and D again. Do we see any coding irregularities? Do we times 1 anything? We don't. That's a coding irregularity. Yes, MK. And I posted Monday's live up now. It should be ready to play too if you need it. We don't times 1 anything. If you see something like that during your exam, you can automatically get rid of that as your answer. But the reason this is the answer is because of our administration fees again. We've got 1 shot that is sub-Q, 1 shot that is intramuscular, and this shot is up the nose, nasally given. So if you're looking at your routes, 1 is sub-Q, 1 is muscular, and then 1 of them is up the nose. That's why we have the 71, 72, and 74. So looking at coding or the process of elimination, I would think to get rid of D because it's not like the others, you know. So this is one of the ones that I would feel comfortable going on and getting rid of D because it just doesn't look like the same. So out of these, now I can look and see that this 12-4 looks weird compared to these two. So again, I would get rid of C with the process of elimination. You don't have to. You can look up all the codes if you want to. But I like doing it that way. So now all I got to do is tell the difference between the 651 and the 649. The problem is that Gardasil is split up into two different vaccines. And if you're not clinical, you wouldn't know. One of them is given first, then the other one is given 6 months later, second. And they're both billed differently. And one of them's first and one of them's second. So you just need to mark out which one is the first and which one is the second one by finding the answer to this one. So is the first one the 51 or the 49? Because they're both Gardasil vaccines. Human papillomavirus, it's to prevent HPV, the oral herpes virus. Highly recommend. If you don't want your kids to get oral herpes and all that stuff, this vaccine can help with that. And yes, this 51 is your first vaccine, and it is the Gardasil. So be sure and write Gardasil next to 51, and be sure to write first beside it also. That's why all these practice exam questions are super helpful to have. Then you can make notes in your book and have all these examples for when you see the example again. Thank you for all the hearts and the shares. I see them floating and floating by. It's lovely. We had like 7,000 likes Wednesday. It was great. Let's see. So I got some quick ones we can do. What if your doctor ordered this CPT code and that CPT code, and they did counseling? Let's see how many components these two vaccines have together. Yeah, a lot of vaccines, you need to give them 3 times in order to get the complete series. You don't do it all in the same day, but your 2-month, 4-month, 6-month baby shots are all 3 series vaccines, except for the tetanus is in a 5 series vaccine, where you get tetanus when you're 2-month-old, 4-month-old, 6-month-old, 15-month-old, 4-year-old, and then you get it again when you're 10 to 12 years old. You get another tetanus. So a lot of them are in series. 5 more minutes. So 90697 has how many components in it, guys? How many components are in this one? 90697. Anybody have it down? Sanchez, Annie, you got it. This has 6 components in it. Somebody's done their homework. Very good. What about 90694? How many components does it have in it? It has 1. Yep. So our total components for these 2 shots is 7 components. What is our number for our first administration fee? We're going to do it times what? how many shots, or how many CPT codes do we have? They equate to the same thing. Very good, Sandy. 2. That's how we figure up our first administration fee. Then we subtract that from our components. What number do we have left over? We're going to put at our second administration fee, which is what number? How many are we going to times? There you go, Doug. Yep. That's it. That's how you code it. If they have counseling. If they don't have counseling at all, and it's just a nurse visit for this, then you could just bill your $904.71 with a 72. And you don't have to do any components, and there's no timeses involved when there's no counseling. So those nurse visits just get the shot. You pay for the syringes, so it's just one code, the 71, and then the 72 for the second syringe. So super nice when it's just a nurse visit. If y'all don't mind, we can do one more of those, and then we'll stop for tonight. You gonna do one more? Okay. All right. How many components is in our 696? Is Sandy right? What do you guys think? Does Sandy know the manufacturer name of the vaccine of 90496? There are 4 components. It's okay. It's all right. Make your notes. I'd rather y'all get it. That's the manufacturer's name, but the manufacturer gave it a proper name, like John Smith. It does have a proper name, and y'all should get those proper names written down. Like, you call your cat, I've got a Sammy, a Chloe, and a Magpie. The manufacturer gave this CPT code a name. There you go, Annie. Woo! Good job. Good job. Kimrix. And it has 4 components because AAPC may just come along and say, we gave Kimrix today, bill it. And then you won't know unless you have it written down. So good job. Thank you for all the hearts. We had the 80. How many components does it have in it? Or 80? How many components does our rotavirus have in it? It's 1 component. The 3-dose schedule also means once you start this dose or this schedule, you can't switch vaccines. There's a couple of rotavirus vaccines. One of them is 2 scheduled shots. One of them is 3 scheduled shots, and you can't switch them. If you pick the 3rd, then you get all 3. So that also means. And our 70. How many components does our 70 have in it? That's our Prevnar. It has 1 component in it also. So we have 6 altogether. What would be our times for our first administration code if we had 6 components and 3 CPT codes? What's going to be our times? Yep, we're going to have 3. Perfect. What are we going to have as our last administration times code number. We have 3 CPT codes, so we would put 3 and 3 because we minus the 3 shots that we gave, and we have 3 left over. Yeah, the last one ahead above it, we only had 2 CPT codes, so we put the 2 in front. So it just depends on how many CPT codes literally you have. That's all. You just change it by however many codes equal the total amount. That's the number you put in the front. I hope that's helpful. So in my Discord group, if y'all have not joined it, please go to medicalcodingbyjen.com, my website, and you will find the social media links. Let me see if I can't find it here real quick. Do I have it up? I usually have it up. I got Domino's up right now. Domino's. Do I have my website? No, I got AAPC. There I do. I do have it. So this is my website right here, Medical Coding by Jen. Just go to the social media links tab and then go to right here to join the Discord and click that little button. You can join our study group. The other cool thing that was just there, if you go to CPT Book Prep, right there, you can click on any of my pictures. It'll tell you what I'm doing to the CPT book and why I'm doing it, and show you how to prep your book just like I did mine. Even these anatomy pictures, they're all free. Even what to do to your ICD-10 book, it's all free there. Just click on it and it tells you. I got my typed instructions. And then I have one-sheet guidelines for a lot of the medical guidelines, just one-sheeters, how to code sepsis. There's 4 different ways, scenarios. You have to code them based off the diagnoses. So it makes it a little easier for you. But this page is free. Just click on it and you can see how to make up your book. You can go to the social links and find our Discord group. And just be sure and go on and download the Discord app. It's free. Set up your account, then click on that little link. And then you can come in here and hang out with us. And if you go to CPT Code Resource Room, right there, CPT Code Resources, I've got that piece of paper that tells you what all, just scroll backwards, how many components are on each vaccine. And it's right there. So super handy dandy. Plus the study group is rocking. Everybody's in there to help you. If y'all are in the courses and stuff, y'all can do that kind of stuff. If y'all are looking to book online for the workshop this Sunday, even if you can't be there, you can click that, and then you can get the replay too, so you can get the password and log on and watch the replay. It'll be about 50 to 60 questions on cardiology, musculoskeletal, and E&M, just like I did tonight, but with no talking, just straight questions and how I did it, and you can book that. The weird thing is when you hit book, you've actually got to pick the calendar date. Like here, you got to click on the 19th, and then you got to click on the 2, and then you can hit next. But that's it, if you feel like it. And then don't forget, there's a ton of stuff on YouTube. So all my repeat lives are all there. I just posted the 13th on there, so they're all there. I have the repeat lives. I have live videos where I do section book prep, where you can watch me code by code prep the entire book code by code. I've got one of those right there recently. I just did Sunday, and that's cool. So I hope it's all helpful. Be glad to see you there. Thanks, Twinkle. Kashmir, good to see you again. I try to follow everybody, all of you that are here, multiple hours every week. I click on y'all's profiles and try to follow y'all back. Some of you are private, but that's okay. Just know that I tried, and I was trying to hang out and watch y'all's TikToks too, which are fun. So that's cool. But if y'all need me, I'll be around. I'll be back on Friday to do another live here on TikTok for 2 hours in the evening, and then we'll be back on Sunday to do our workshop on Zoom. So be checking out your emails. I've already sent it out a couple of times, the Zoom link, just in case you needed it. But I'll keep sending it out every day just so that you make sure you get it ahead of time. And if you need me, holler at me in Discord. Message me there. It's easy to keep everything straight there. I will see you guys later. Let me know, too, what y'all want to see on the next live. I'd love to get y'all's input on what y'all want to see, too. You're welcome, Annie. I see y'all later.